Good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Infanity TV's Laker pregame preview. My name is VJ Verna Husky, the Big Sports Vanilla Poppy, the Big Vanilla Funny here for you guys for Infanity TV with a huge Western Conference game tonight here at Crypto.com in downtown Los Angeles with the 3-seed Houston Rockets storming into town against the 4-seed, the 2nd-seed Houston Rockets storming into town against the 3-seed. Houston's locked in at the 2nd seed. The Lakers are sitting at the 3-seed right now to take on the home Los Angeles Lakers. So I got a lot of info for you guys. I'm going to try to go fast so it'll take up too much time, but try to keep up with me. Between the 3 and the 8 in the Western Conference right now is all divided by one game. If the Lakers win tonight, they secure the 3 seed. The only discussion is going to be who they're going to play at the 6 right now, which is the Golden State Warriors, who have the Trailblazers later on tonight. That game's going to tip off pretty soon. The Lakers have the Rockets tonight, and then they're at the Trailblazers to finish the year off. The Rockets in town tonight, locked in at the 2 seed, with a job Ime Udoka has done with this team, with Jalen Green, with bringing a guy like Dillon Brooks and Van Fleet. And you know, no one loves Dillon Brooks as much as Crypto.com, the Los Angeles Lakers, and LeBron James. So that's going to be a key component tonight. But they're locked in at the 2 seed right now. They have also the Trailblazers also left on their schedule too. Excuse me, the Nuggets. They'll play the Nuggets to finish off their game, so their season. So the Nuggets are right there with Minnesota, with the Lakers. Also, a few other teams, the Clippers, another big game for the Clippers. They play Golden State on Sunday to end their season. So tonight's game is the first domino that will fall as far as Western Conference seeding outside of the 1st and the 2nd seed for the 2024-2025 NBA playoffs. So some keynotes for the Lakers tonight. We know that this has been Luca's town. This has been a whole Luca love fest since he got traded here at the trade deadline, a trade that shocked not just the basketball, but the sports world. Took Luca a little time, man, but now you see the effect on Luca. He looks polished. He looks fast. He looks like the white Mambas when I'm gonna start. I'm about to call him that because that's what he almost transformed to, especially a few nights ago in Dallas as his go-back home game, putting up historic numbers and getting the FICO Fire Nico chants going in Dallas. So I expect Luca to come out tonight knowing this is the game they need for the 3rd seed to establish himself, and then LeBron to do what LeBron's been doing really good this year, especially lately. Get in when you fit in, and when they need those moments for LeBron to push, LeBron's been able to push and deliver. Then you go to a guy like Austin Reeves, you got guys like Jackson Hayes and then Dorian Finney-Smith, and the rest of the must-haves, as I like to call them, need to step up and perform tonight. The Houston Rockets are going to be prepared to win this game, even though they have their seed locked up. This matchup feels personal tonight between the Rockets and some of the exchanges between Dillon Brooks and LeBron James, and also LeBron James and Ime Udoka, the head coach of the Houston Rockets. Keys to tonight games, as always with me, guys, rebounding and turnovers. Lakers are sitting at 24 right now. Rockets are a really good rebounding team. The Lakers have got to win the offensive rebound category tonight in order for them to stay in and win this game. They get more boards offensively, they get more possessions, and they get those kickouts to all the three-point shooters that they have. They're going to be just fine in this game tonight. And if not, could be a tight game, and it could be an ugly game down the stretch if they're not getting bored. So, as always, I'm going to go upstairs and get some grub. All the superstars out tonight. It's live. It's national TV game on NBA TV. Houston Rockets, LA Lakers, Crypto.com, downtown Los Angeles, Infanity TV. I'm VJ Verna Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Sports Talk Poppy. See you guys after the game.
JJ, the trip, how would you summarize what that did for you, not just in terms of the standings and controlling your own destiny for today, but just galvanizing the team, rallying and kind of coming home and trying to with some business to take care of?
It's a really good trip. Thought it was 3 really good tests for us. The Sunday, getting to play the best team in basketball this season, and then simulating what a potential road game 1 or 2 or road game 3 or 4 looks like, having to bounce back and them being very motivated and energetic, and us having to fight through that and give ourselves put ourselves in a position to win the game in the fourth quarter, and then turn around and deal with an emotional night on the second night of a back-to-back. I just thought you can simulate in the regular season a little bit of what the playoffs are. That's about as good as a simulation. And you're not going to have a back-to-back. You are going to have to deal with your emotions in the playoffs. I think that's an underrated part of making a deep playoff run. Stan used to always talk about that all the time, just not getting too high or too low after a win. You don't get extra points if you lose by 30. You don't get extra points if you win by 30. You have to assess each game, plan for each game, prepare for each game, and then go play that game, regardless of what has just happened. So I thought it was overall just a really positive trip.
For tonight's game, just kind of you being you, fair to assume that you have all the appropriate fear about the Rockets that are going to play. They played very well against the Clippers. They pushed them. They're young. I assume you take it very seriously, even with the guys that are out.
Of course. I think early in that fourth quarter, it was a 2-possession game. They made 20 of 43s. Really specifically with Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore, both those guys would be rotation players on nearly every team and potential starters on a lot of teams. And those guys they're thirsty to play and they're thirsty to prove themselves. And they're both really good players. So, we didn't know which direction they were going to go. We prepped as if they were playing everyone. We even, I had a pre-coaches meeting with the scout pod leader and Bob, our defensive coordinator, this morning. And then about 30 minutes after we finished our meeting, all those guys were out, and so we pivoted, and that's what we had to do. But we always have the appropriate level of fear, and frankly, our team hasn't been great against sub 500 teams. So, not that Houston is. I'm saying we have not consistently sort of had the same defensive mindset approach to some teams versus the great teams. And frankly, we did last week against Houston. We did on Wednesday against Dallas. We did on Sunday against OKC. So it's there. We got to have that tonight.
Dorian told us in Dallas that the team amongst themselves have been saying, let's get that one more to clinch the 3 seed. Did you see anything today in the walkthrough, demeanor of the team, that let you know that they're in the right space to accomplish a goal, regardless of who's suiting up for the Rockets?
Yeah, I think earlier in the year, it was really hard to read kind of when we would get together as a group on a game day. Kind of as a coach, you're like, does this mean we're going to play well? Does this mean we're going to play bad? So I've kind of let go of that.
JJ, starting with the Houston game that you just referenced, it feels like the defense has largely been back outside of maybe a few stretches. Have you sensed that over the last 10 days or so that you guys have been back to maybe where you were or close to where you were before LeBron and Rui got injured?
I have. I think we've seen stretches and games as good as, if not better, than that 20-4 stretch when we had the best defense in the league. We had a little stretch there in the third against OKC. Had a little stretch, not for a whole quarter, I didn't think, against Golden State, but overall it's been really good.
Coach, you're still building this thing as we head to the playoffs. Is there anything about the team that shows you that it has championship DNA? If so, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's every team's goal to win a championship, something that I think we've talked about as a group. But we make no assumptions. So I think the biggest thing that we've done is really just focused on the next thing in front of us. And the next thing in front of us is Houston and trying to get the 3rd seed. And then the next thing in front of that will be our opponent in the first round. And that's just how we have to operate and think. But I've said all season that I have a very high belief level in the group.
Excuse me. No, tonight's a big night, but to just take it off the court for a second, you were part of the announcement that they're going to rebuild their recreation center in the Palisades. You've spoken to us about just how important it was to you to rebuild it, how important that was for your family. What do you hope this center, when it is rebuilt, what do you hope it can be to the community again once that does happen?
Yeah, I think part of the last 3 months has been talking to the mayor, talking to the mayor's office, talking to Rick and all the things he's doing with Steadfast, but also talking to key community stakeholders throughout the Palisades. And I think there's 3 different right of entries in Palisades Park. And so there's all these groups that helped make the park what it was and what it's going to be. And I think it has to be, and it will be, something that everyone in the community can be proud of, and will continue to just be the hub of the community. And for families like us with young kids, they're going to be there every day, and it's got to be a place that the community is proud of.
Ben Balch, LA Times. I see again. I'm doing something on plus minus, and the guy who created it, he actually played for Coach Wooden at UCLA. And I just want to know your thoughts on it, both as a concept and as a utility, as far as the usefulness and what it says about players and kind of putting the team above the individual.
Just like the plus minus, meaning like the box score plus minus, or like any of that stuff that
Box
is more
score plus
predictive.
minus, yeah.
Yeah. I think in general, it's a useful tool. I think sometimes it doesn't always tell the full picture. You can feel like a guy has a huge impact on the game and a huge impact on winning in a 10-point win, and he's a -9. And you can say, oh, this guy really cost us tonight, and he's a +7. Like, I think game to game, it doesn't always tell the full story. I think the lineup stuff is really important to look at with plus minus. There's times, even throughout this year, I'll give you an example. There's times throughout this year where guys are in and out of the lineup. LeBron's having to play with guys that he hasn't necessarily played a ton with, and the team goes on a run, and you could say, well, LeBron helped us win the game in the fourth quarter, but that stretch at the end of the end of the first and end of the third, we lost those minutes. That doesn't mean it's LeBron's bad at plus minus, but I think in the aggregate, it's something as you can sort of normalize things with lineups and with minutes. You can see, for example, our team, Dorian Finney-Smith impacts winning when he's on the court.
JJ, what stands out about the identity of this young, kind of scrappy Rockets team, and how have the veterans, Jeff Green, Fred, Dylan, impacted that?
Yeah, I think it starts with Ime. He's one of the best coaches in the league. Not going to get into the awards stuff, but he's a guy that should be in consideration for Coach of the Year. I think bringing him in as the culture builder and the foundation of what they're trying to do, particularly on the defensive end, and then the addition of veterans with their young guys, it's a perfect marriage. And I just have a ton of respect for the way Ime coaches. And, they say that the way a team plays is often a reflection of their coach. And I think the Houston Rockets are a great example of that.
JJ, are you finding coaching more rewarding than playing?
Yes.
Why?
So I try to figure that out for the last 6 months. I'm not sure. But I will say I think anybody that was around me as a player knows how much I enjoyed the job every day, and knows how grateful I was to be in the NBA every day, and very grateful to have a 15-year career. I like this more.
So your last regular season home game, you're kind of rounding the bend of your first year as a head coach, at least regular season-wise. What have been some of the, unforeseen challenges that have come up along the way, and have there been alternately any things that you surprised yourself with your sort of the ease at which they came or how naturally they came to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a different challenge every day, to be honest with you. Other than that, my house burning down and the Palisades fire, nothing has surprised me because I went into this with a very open mind and a baseline level of knowledge. And though I didn't have experience as a coach, I had 15 years of experience in the NBA and have been a part of a bunch of different locker rooms and a bunch of different situations, either as, a firsthand witness or a third party with a team. So I've kind of seen a lot. But truthfully, there's a different challenge every day. Like the challenge today is making sure our guys play with the same defensive mindset that we've played with over the last 10 to 12 days against a team that is now resting a lot of their starters. That's a challenge. When you miss 2 games and all of a sudden the toughest part of your schedule, you get another game added and you get 6 games in 8 nights and you're not sure who's going to be in the lineup every night. Like, that's a challenge. That's not to say I am surprised by that. It's just the nature of the NBA.
Hi, JJ. Generally, of all the different factors that determine a playoff series, where do you rank experience in that equation?
I never really thought about it. I don't know. I guess I don't buy the theory, but I just don't. It's kind of like I have a 10-year-old son who plays fairly competitive levels of travel basketball, club basketball, whatever you want to call it. He actually won Pally Rec, by the way. City champs last night. Very proud of him. Actually, he had, brag for a second, leading scorer on his team last night in the championship game. He had 12 of their 36. And when we got home, my youngest son had taken a tennis lesson with his best friend. So when we got home, he's like, Knox, I heard you won. How many points did you have? And Knox was like, 12. He said, what was the score? And he said, 36-33, without missing a beat. He goes, that's exactly 1/3 of your team's points. I was like, that's great. Oh, man. Where was your question again? I got off track there.
Yeah, the experience. It sounded like you didn't really buy that. Why don't you buy it?
So going back to my 10-year-old, he like a lot of people, regardless of good game, bad game, complains about the referees. And I feel like there's a inherent thing that happens in sports where you're like, oh, the refs were bad, the ump was bad, the line judge was bad. You grow up believing that, right? And it becomes something that gets ingrained in your brain. I was never like that as a kid. And I try to tell Knox all the time, I'm like, these people, they just are doing it because they love the game. They're not trying to they don't know anything about you. They're not trying to screw you over. They're just doing it because they love the game. And I think the same way about experience. It's a thing that's out there that gets talked about, but I just don't believe in it. I think you got to prepare. You got to control what you can control. You got to play hard. You got to try to execute. And if you do that, you give yourselves a chance to win. Last night with Knox, and I hate to keep using this analogy, but he played in 2 city championships in New York City. He's played in travel tournaments. For him to play in that in a standing room only, it wasn't an issue. He's had that experience. He's 10. But most people say, well, 10-year-olds, they're not clutch. Okay, well, when he's banging jumpers in the second half of a 1-possession game, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Sorry, JJ. Just to bring it back to where you started talking about emotional connectivity, and just considering how quickly this group has developed that on the fly since February, have you experienced that with a group in the league before? And if not, what's so special about this group that makes that thread so strong?
Well, I think trying to figure stuff out on the fly, it's not perfect. And frankly, our stretch since we traded for Luca hasn't been perfect. And not just with scheduling and with guys being in and out of the lineup. It just hasn't been perfect. And I think it's really hard to do. The only thing that I can think of that was a successful example was when we made the finals in 09. I believe we started that year 33-8, and then Jameer Nelson tore his labrum right after he'd been named to the All-Star game, and we kind of had to scramble. We traded for this really old point guard that could barely move at that stage of his career. His name was Ty Lue. That became, it became apparent that was not going to be a solution. So then we traded for Rafer, and we had to figure that out on the fly. We went, we were a little bit above 500 after the Rafer trade, but the group figured it out kind of on the fly in the playoffs. So it's not this thing. Again, I've talked about this before. You make trades in the NBA in season at that level with like a Luca. There's a handful of examples in NBA history that led to a championship. Thanks, that season.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Laker Post Game here on Infanity TV. I'm VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Sports Talk Poppy, with the post-game coverage from the Lakers and the Houston Rockets as the Lakers sew up the number 3 seed in the Western Conference playoffs for the 2024-2025 NBA season with a 141-109 thrashing home victory tonight against the Houston Rockets. Big game from Luka Doncic, even a Bronny James sighting at about the 4-minute mark, which was the biggest ovation other than when Luka was introduced in the pregame here tonight. So let's just get right into this. This game kind of did seem like that the Rockets, I don't want to use the term mailed it in, but they're solid at the number 2 seed. They already know they're going to have to wait for the play-in to even shape out between the 7, the 8, the 9, and the 10 seeds in the play-in right now in the Western Conference to even know who they're going to play in the first round. A lot of guys didn't play for them tonight, and some guys didn't get a lot of play time. Shout out to my man Cam Whitmore, 13 of 19, 7 of 12 from 3 for 34 points. He was about the only thing. Jalen Green was 3 of 10 from the field, did not have a good shooting night or good efficient night at all, too, at a minus 19 in the plus-minus rating. But on to the Los Angeles Lakers. They were on fire from the outset. They were hitting all types of shots from all types of angles. They actually had 11 threes. They were 11 from 20 from three-point range. And at the end of the first half, they were shooting 66%. And they were up big already. And the Lakers have been known here ever since they got Luka. If they get up big, cancel Christmas, take the milk and cookies away, put the women and children to bed. Dad, you stay up and watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because Santa Claus is not coming when the Lakers get up to a big lead here at Crypto.com. And that's exactly what they did. 78 points in the first half for the Lakers. They scored 38 in the first quarter, 40 points in the second quarter. They cooled off a little bit in the third quarter, but they had a comfortable lead. At about the 6-minute mark, they'd only had 16 points and then still finished that quarter with 29 points. Houston, 32 and 24 in the first half for their 58 points. And then again, they didn't have a really great second half either, only scoring 22 points in the fourth quarter. Now, here's the caveat, and this is why this is so great with such a big game tonight. The last game of the season for the 6th seed is going to be the number 5 seed LA Crosstown Clippers over in the Intuit Dome against the Golden State Warriors. That game, the loser of that game will essentially have to start their playoffs right here to my left here at beautiful Crypto.com arena right down here in downtown Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. What would be more beautiful than a crosstown playoff rivalry with the Lakers and the Clippers, where the Lakers for the first time in the playoffs in the city of LA for, I don't know, as long as I can ever remember, would actually have to travel within their own city for games 3 and 4 as they hold the 3 seed right now. Or it can be the 4-time champion, Mr. All-World little guy, and he's not a little guy. I had talked to him just last week when he was here last Thursday night. He's bigger than people think, but Steph Curry, 2-time MVP, 1-time unanimous, and then Draymond Green, who's possibly going to win the Defensive Player of the Year award right now. He's a minus 160 on Vegas to do that. I started his stat. He was a plus 5,000 in February. He has now worked himself into a minus 160 in Vegas for Defensive Player of the Year. So it's either going to be the Clippers or it's going to be the Golden State Warriors. Who do you all out there, Laker fan, would like to see them play? Doesn't matter to me, but if I had to pick a side, it would probably be the Golden State Warriors. I know a lot of people are thinking they might throw that game, the Clippers or the Warriors, to avoid the Lakers. I don't think Golden State will do that, but the Lakers are ready. Had a chance to talk to Austin Reeves and listen to him in the postgame, along with JJ Redick and along with Luka Doncic, and the sentiment is the same from all 3 guys, that they they're just happy to get this third seed and get this must-win tonight, and a huge one, as I mentioned, 141 to 109. Like I said, I think the Rockets didn't mail it in, but figured, hey, we're the 2 seed. We're going to get a lot of time off. We have to wait for the plan. Think about it. The Rockets have one more game left, so it doesn't matter where they sit, whether they win or lose. They'll probably sit everybody else. Then they're going to have almost 2 weeks off, as the play-in is going to be next week, and we know that takes 4 to 5 games. Same for the LA Lakers. They're going to get a little extra rest, and Austin Reed was asked about that, who actually right now is standing right here to my left with some fans from his home state, his hometown, his high school, rocking his high school jersey right now. That's pretty cool to see. But he was asked in the postgame how he felt about that, and he expressed that it does give them a chance to get back into the gym, get back to practice, get back to the things that you normally can't do in the regular season because the schedule is so hectic. So that's it from here tonight, man. Not a lot to talk about. The main thing is that the Lakers are the 3rd seed going into the playoffs. They will await the loser between Sunday night's matchup between the Crosstown Clippers and the 4-time champion Golden State Warriors. LeBron James also, too, quick side note, decent night for him tonight. Austin Reed's another big night, as I mentioned. He's just standing right off to the side of me here. 3-6 from three-point range, 9 of 14, 23.7 boards with a plus 13 rating. I tell you guys, stop calling him, and I want you to cut and put this out on Instagram. Stop calling him a third option. He's a 1C or a 2B, because when he has the ball in his hands, he's just as good as the first or second option. And it's shown that. And JJ Redick has also talked that up also, too. So the Lakers record right now sits at 50-31. The Houston Rockets are at 52-39. Everybody is getting set for the playoffs. This was the last closing home game of the regular season for the Los Angeles Lakers at Crypto.com. And for our regular season Lakers post-game and pre-game coverage here on Infinity TV. So for all the fans out there, for all the supporters and everybody out there that's tuned in and got us all the views and clicks all regular season long, we thank you humbly. God bless you all. We appreciate the support and we love you. And let's keep it up, because we got the playoffs coming up next. And we're going to be here for every game until the Lakers are eliminated. From Crypto.com in downtown Los Angeles for Infanity TV Laker pre and post game, I'm VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Poppy. God bless.
JJ, did you get a bit of an ice bath?
Yes. And I just want to apologize to Kathy. Hopefully in the next 9 days, the $17,000 of damage to the carpet can get fixed. So it was about 8 ice buckets that was put on me. So, but I think it was just for our group, you know, different versions of this team. For the guys that have been here all along, they went through every single peak and valley. I think even this third iteration of this team has gone through a bunch of peaks and valleys. I'm just incredibly proud of our team. It's an accomplishment to win 50 games in the regular season in any year. I think particularly in this year, in this Western Conference, it is. And it's a credit to our players. Each one at different points in time has contributed to winning. They've all participated in a winning culture. And our coaching staff, our performance staff, everybody down the line, like, so it's a great group to be a part of. We want to go win one more game, and we'll figure out Sunday who we play in the first round.
The way that kind of Luca played on the trip and then coming into today and the rhythm that he's in going into the playoffs, and just how significant do you think all of that is, considering the rest of your team and kind of how it's coalescing?
Yeah, I think it's great for Luca. All three of those guys, Bron, AR, and Luca, I think this last week and a half have really found a nice rhythm, not just individually, but within what we're trying to do and playing together and using each other to create advantages. And we started working yesterday. We spent about 45 minutes this morning starting to just map out. We obviously don't know when we're going to play, but starting to map out next week. And it's going to be important over the next 8-9 days to stay in that rhythm, and we have to be smart about it. But there's still got to be some work next week. We want to prioritize Rest and recovery, of course, but we got to also stay in that rhythm.
Speaking of recovery, LeBron checked out halfway through the third quarter, didn't return. We saw a wrap on his left side. Can you tell us anything about how he's feeling?
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
But you Eagles fan?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I only root for winners. I only root for winners. The Eagles, Florida Gators. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, JJ, entering into media day, your first season, you said this is going to take time. You guys clinched the 3rd seed. You just had multiple ice buckets poured on you. How would you say your first season went?
It's not done. And I spent all of 3.5 minutes on the flight back from Dallas just thinking about making the playoffs and thinking about the coaching profession. And I think as a coach, you're obviously judged on regular season wins and losses and your ability to get to the playoffs. But I think the other two things that you're really judged on are the way you're able to handle the pressure of the playoffs, the adjustments, the in-game stuff. There's still so much work that we have to do, myself, our staff. And then I think you're also judged on the culture you create and whether or not your players and everybody in the building like coming to work.
JJ, to that point, after LeBron checked out, Luca and Austin it seemed like their on-ball aggressiveness offensively and like creativity really kicked up. How much fun does it look like those guys are having in the opportunities that they have to attack defenders when they have a perceived mismatch?
Yeah, I thought throughout the game and throughout this last 2 months, however long it's been since we've had Luca, when we've done a good job of recognizing mismatches and gotten into proper spacing, we've created really good offense. And that's not, these guys know it and they're so good. If you have a mismatch and you can beat your guy or you can post your guy, LeBron's great with this. Like, it doesn't just mean you get to shoot it. It means we have an advantage now, and we can score the basketball. We can generate good offense, and I think all three of those guys have been so good with that. I warned them at halftime to continue to play the right way, and that there would be fines if there were any possessions that looked like the Dallas possession the other night. So they came close, but I think they're all going to keep their money.
JJ, Luca's finishing in the paint. Going back to this past road trip, it feels like he's taken a step and looked more like himself with just his finishing numbers. And tonight, I believe, was 7 for 8 in the paint. What have you seen with that part of his game, and how much of an asset is that for you guys, given all the space he can create with his step backs?
I think he's found so he's really good at late decision making. He's one of the best in the league, and probably one of the best ever at late decision making, meaning he can get deep into the paint or at the rim, and then you don't know if he's going to shoot or pass. And I think he's found a little bit of that, whether it's 50-50, 60-40, 55-45, he's found that like 60-40 shoot versus pass, whereas I think that equation was out of whack when he first got here. Then there's the rhythm, just the touch. It all goes together when you're making threes and you're making middies and you're making your post ups. It all goes together. I think that just the confidence level to finish and the burst that he's gotten as he's gotten back into his rhythm. We were just talking on the bench tonight. Like his drives look more explosive now than they did when he first joined us.
JJ, just when your defense is humming and you guys are playing the way you want to do, are there things that you look for that you go, okay, we're locked in? Are there and what would those things be?
Yeah, we're not. It's funny. We're not an aggressive defense necessarily. I think our greens are probably the most aggressive thing that we do, but we can be incredibly disruptive, and so it's being disruptive within what we're trying to do. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean a deflection or a turnover. Sometimes that can just mean we stall out an offensive possession. And that's one thing. You can get into like our shift positioning, where our low man is, our talk, all that stuff. But typically that's like a good marker of our defense. It's not just forced turnovers. It's how many possessions can we stall out where they're taking a contested off the dribble jumper.
How do you describe like LeBron's role in that? Where
He's, quarterback is an offensive position, but he's the quarterback of the defense. And a lot of that is his voice, his IQ. There was a play where AR switched onto a big in the first half, and Rui ended up getting deflection, but within half a second, Bron was scramming him out. AR, get out of here, and to take the big. And it plays like that that I think really connect our defense.
Hey, Coach. You talked about in the beginning of the season that you used to use visualization when you were in high school. You'd go to the gym and, pretend you were coming off a screen, take a shot. And then you said before you had the first game here that you used visualization. I was wondering if you still deploy that technique, and what situations are you imagining?
I sometimes I do my breathing and meditation in the locker room in my locker like my coach's room before the game. But I always, even if I do it before, I always do it during starting lineup. And it's not necessarily a certain amount of breath work or anything like that. It's really just to get me into a place where I feel like I can coach. And that's typically when I do most of my visualization work. And a lot of that is just, who we're playing, how I want us to play, what I want our defense to look like, the on-ball and off-ball actions we use, and then I usually finish with some like connecting plays for our players, and then I'm ready to go.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You guys clinched number 3 in the West. You have won 7 out of 10. You buy yourself a couple extra days of rest, knowing Sunday doesn't matter. Just what's the feeling of accomplishment for this group tonight?
Feels good. We've obviously been through ups and downs throughout this year. I was joking with my best friend the other day, talking about how I feel like this year's been 5 years in total, but then again, feels like it just started at the same time. Like as much as this group's been through, every time we hit any type of adversity, we bounce back, and that's all you can ask in a group.
A couple weeks ago, JJ mentioned building a playoff mentality, and it seems like you guys have taken a big step in that since everybody got healthy on March 22nd. What have you seen from that perspective, and I guess what you guys carry from the last couple weeks into the playoffs starting next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, playoff time is all about executing and, paying attention to the details. You can win by the, smallest margin, or you can lose by, a couple mess ups. So you have to be sharp every single possession. You obviously know you're not going to be perfect, but anytime you strive to be perfect, the better your team's going to be. So just taking that, into the season or into the postseason is very important for us.
Austin, there's a stat that's circulated recently that 76 of 78 NBA champions have been top 3 seeds. You guys locked up the number 3 seed. Do you feel like you guys are building towards that and have a real shot at that based on where you're at in the playoff seeding?
Yeah, I mean, I did not know that stat, so thanks. Yeah, we feel very comfortable with what we got in the locker room. From front office, coaching staff to players, we're all locked into one goal, and that's to win a championship. And like I said, we feel very comfortable with what we have. We can play different ways, and then we got, the best player to ever play the game, and then, probably arguably going to be, one of the best players to ever play the game in Luca. And then around that, we have guys that are just bought into winning, and that's what you need when you're trying to make a run like that.
Austin, back here, what kind of impact has J.J. Redick had on this team?
Huge. When the Lakers hired him, I had talked to him a couple times previously, and I knew his IQ of the game. But, obviously there was all the talks about, he's never coached at any type of high level or anything like that. And since day one, he's been super professional, super locked into one goal, and that's getting the team to buy into what the coaching staff wants. So he's been huge in what we've done, and I can't give him enough credit for what he's done for me, the team. Happy to, go to war for him any day.
Austin, I was asking JJ about the defense and sort of LeBron's role in it, and he mentioned a play today where, like, LeBron, you were on somebody and LeBron told you to get out of the way. And would you describe him as like a quarterback on defense? Is that his role, or is it middle linebacker? That sort of vocal role he plays there?
To be honest, I don't really know football that much.
Okay.
But he talks about it all the time. Yeah, I mean, he is, our vocal leader on and off the court. He leads by example every day. He shows up to work happy, smile on his face. And obviously his IQ is second to none. So anytime he's, talking on court, off court, everybody's locked into what he has to say. And it's big for us when he's on the court talking like that because, like I said, his IQ is so high that he's seen a billion possessions in the NBA, so he's guarded every type of player that's been in the NBA. He's seen every scheme. So if there's someone to listen to, I think it would be him.
Austin, by securing this number 3 seed, obviously you're going to get rest, recovery, more practice time. What for you specifically excites you most about securing this 3 seed?
I get to watch the Masters tomorrow and Sunday with a little less stress. But like you said, it's a good opportunity for us to get back in the gym, work on what we need to work on. If it's your body, skill work, watch film, whatever it is, it just gives us, a couple more days to be very prepared for, whatever matchup we have.
Hey, Austin. Bron has always been a huge supporter of yours, and you've always been very clear about what that's meant to you. How has your relationship grown this year with you being considered a part of a big 3 and you throwing a towel back at him during the game and you guys jumping around at a certain point?
Yeah, I mean, as all of y'all have probably seen from my rookie year when a tweet got posted from when I was 12 talking about I basically was just talking shit on LeBron. Wasn't a huge LeBron fan. I was a Kobe fan, so automatically I didn't love him, but obviously always respected his game. And then just being around him every single day, the joy that he brings to the team. Like I said, he's never in a bad mood. He's always, joking, laughing, having a good time. And for him to, welcome me from when I was on a 2-way the same way as he does today, it just meant a lot to me. And obviously, being able to play alongside him, just helped me grow every single day. So I owe him a lot for, what he's helped me accomplish. And yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
So we're going to do 3 more. Taylor, Lauren, and a gentleman in moderation.
Austin, on the road, JJ was saying how you continued all season to just morph into a different player because you love winning so much. Do you think that's true, and how do you do that?
When you love to win, you like to, take on the challenge of figuring out how to help your team be successful. And, every game it might be something different. Early in the year I wasn't on ball as much, so it was doing, other things to help us be successful. If it was, hustle plays, taking charges, or whatever it might be. And then just continuing to grow my game, being in the gym every day with Bo, just trying to continue to get better. And then, just like I've always said, just try to play the game the right way. I feel like my parents and my brother did a really good job of teaching me how to play the game. And when you're, able to play with such good players and you try to play the right way, good things will happen. You'll always be on the right, not always, obviously I mess up, but you'll continue to put yourself in, positions to be successful. And then obviously, they do so much to help me, get to where I want to go. So I just try to play the game the right way, and hopefully the basketball gods reward me.
Austin, you've consistently been one of your biggest critics, and also now that you're having such a stretch where you've had a lot of consistent games, how would you evaluate your confidence level as you approach the playoffs, and also your confidence level in your team and where they were before the trade deadline to now, like what you've seen in terms of that trajectory and belief in this team and what they can accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, as a team, I feel like we can, win a championship, to be honest with you. And the reason of that is I know that everybody in that locker room believes that and is also bought into whatever your role is to help us do that. You could go, down the line of everybody in there and ask them, what their role is, and they'll tell you exactly what it is. We're not unrealistic with, each other, and that's what you had to be, to be a good group. You had to be honest with each other, and that's why I give this coaching staff a lot of credit, is that they come in and they planted their system and they held guys accountable to what they asked them to do, and everybody bought into that. And then for me, I've always had a weird, maybe a little bit of a delusion, confidence in myself, even when things aren't going good. But obviously when I don't play well, I know I don't play well, so I hold myself to a standard of being better. So I just love the challenge of continuing to grow and get better. And like I said, even when I'm going through tough stretches, I still believe that I'm a decent player.
Last question. Austin, you have like this freeness to yourself when you play. Like you're busting out like a lot of different moves, a lot of barbecue chicken work on some of these guys. What gives you that delusional confidence, I guess, to just try some of these moves in the game?
To be honest, we was talking about players that don't really know what they're gonna do. This was before the game tonight, actually. Me and Brian was talking about how when players don't really know what they're gonna do, they're tough to guard. And I kind of looked at him and was like, half the time I have no idea what I'm about to do. It just happens, and it just comes from putting time in the gym, believing in my handle, believing in. I probably take some bad shots. I will be the first to say that, but I have that confidence of I can make any shot. So, it's just playing the game that I love with a lot of freedom, and everybody on our team and staff, it tells me to do that. They don't want me to be anything that I'm not. They tell me every single day to go be yourself, and that obviously builds confidence in myself as well. So. Give him all the credit. Thank you.
God bless.
The ice bucket dumping on JJ.
Oh my God, I have no idea. I actually didn't know we were gonna do it, and I think who was that? Was it Braun did it first, or Vandal, and just kept going. And just the whole locker room is literally the water, straight water. But yeah, I mean. He talked about he once he got hired, his goal was to get 50 wins and 3rd seed. So yeah, we did it, and it was a big accomplishment for us, and yeah, that's why we did that.
Yeah, where's your confidence level at right now, considering the way you've been playing as a team since you and LeBron came back healthy, as you now enter the postseason with at least round one for home in terms of home court?
Yeah. I think. Of course, we made this playoff, and we know in the plans, so we're gonna have this whole week. I think we can. This week gonna be really important for us. Rest, prepare for the first round. So we needed it. We talk about it. Me and Braun talk about it. We need this win to get week off, literally, so we can get healthy and prepare for the first round. So yeah, it was it was a whole plan, and we did that.
Rui, everyone keeps talking about this team's chemistry, and it's so clear to see like how well you guys get along and how much you guys click. In a lot of videos that are shared of you guys celebrating each other, your smile is just so big, and you just look like so happy. What do you love about this team?
I'm just happy to be here, with this organization. Since I got traded here, with these teammates. I mean, we had a lot of teammates, but the core guys. I've known them for a long time. Off the court, on the court, I love being around them. Being around with them and just talk about winning, losing. We just building our chemistry. Strong, every day, every week, every year is different, So I feel comfortable here, and yeah, I wanna win here. So yeah, we all have our same goals, and yeah, I think this year gonna be really, we have a big chance. So I'm so excited for that.
Rui, you've been on playoff teams with this organization before. You've never been on a rested playoff team with this organization. You touched on it a little bit, but how important do you think was that for this group over this last couple of weeks to really focus on avoiding the play-in and kind of controlling your own fate?
Yeah, especially with our conference, West Conference is so tight. Everybody's literally, same win and loss. So we have to focus on us and get each game was really important for us. We lost to crazy games, couple games, and we stressed out about that. But even though we kind of, we focus on every game, and we won all those important games, especially last week, and that's why I got to this point. So we gotta, like I say, we gotta rest this week and prepare for the first one, and just we got a home court advantage too. So we're gonna be here for like 2 weeks probably for sure, right? So yeah, I'm happy about it, and yeah, I'm ready for that.
You guys obviously have a ton of offensive talent, but there's an adjustment period to learning how to play with one another, particularly a player as dynamic as Luca. But I guess over this last week or so, have you seen the offense start to show like this other gear it can get to?
Yeah, for sure. Especially Luca Luca was coming back from an injury too. When he got traded and stopped playing. So now he's healthier. And me and LeBron got hurt, and we came back. So we kind of rebuild it again, and we start kind of finding each other, the rhythm. And you guys see that this today too. Last game, even Oklahoma. We all know our roles, and we do that. So we love our roles, and yeah, we keep doing it, and we share the balls and all that. It's gonna help us in the playoff long run. So yeah, we gotta keep doing that.
When you, LeBron, and Dorian are playing or involved in those smaller lineups, or any one of you guys can be the center, what's the key to making those lineups work? What have you liked about those groups? I guess how much have you guys been able to fast track that synergy over the past couple of weeks?
I think it will be either me or LeBron can guard bigger guys, and Vando can guard the perimeter wing player, so he can kind of move around. He can kind of do his thing. So I think that'll be the key. Of course we're gonna be switch on now, but I think with the size, our length, we can literally guard anybody in this league. We have a speed and all that. So I think we love the lineup, and yeah, we keep doing it. And you guys can see, we showing a lot of results with that from us. So yeah, we gotta. Of course, this whole week, 1 week, we're gonna watch film, and then we're gonna figure out a lot of stuff. But I think we're gonna keep the lineup, and we're gonna use that for sure a lot in the playoff.
Luca, just how significant for you guys to lock up the three and kind of cement that spot with home court advantage for the first round at least?
Very important. It's going to be my first time having home court advantage, so I'm really excited about it. And that was our goal. Looking back maybe 5-6 games, our goal was to lock at the third seed.
You could argue your last stretch of games here has certainly been your best, just in terms of efficiency. And how are you feeling that at the same time, and how much kind of confidence does you give not just yourself but the team as you head into the postseason?
Yeah, big confidence. Especially getting back in my rhythm. it's important for me. It's important for the team. So I can do everything to help the team win.
Kind of on that note, over this last 3-4 game stretch, you're finishing at the rim or near the rim. Has the efficiency has gone up? Is that related to comfort? Like you kind of mentioned rhythm yourself. Physically, just where is that, I guess, improved efficiency coming from for you?
Yeah, I think just getting physically better. When I drive the ball, I think, like I said, it helps the team a lot. Sometimes around the rim I can score, but then sometimes there's so many guys in the paint that I can create a lot of open shots. So that's what I need to keep doing.
Luca, I was wondering if you could talk about the lob chemistry you guys have on this team. It feels like everyone's just always ready, and like you're kind of leading that charge. Can you just speak to that? Is it something you guys practice or prepare for or talk about, or is it just kind of you guys give each other the eyes and just get it?
Yeah, for me, I was always kind of, looking for lobs. Not for me to pass it, but we don't work on it. It's just kind of the feeling we have with each other on the court, and like I said, it's getting better.
Luca, you've packed a ton in a short amount of time since you came here. You even stayed an extra night in Dallas, did another appearance. It's been nonstop for you. How will this 9 days or so leading up to the start of the first round benefit you?
Big time, big time. I gotta get some rest, obviously, but the good part of the season is coming. So gotta stay ready, gotta stay locked in, but for sure a little bit of rest is gonna be great for me.
Hey, Luca, Austin just said that he thinks that the Lakers could win a championship. You've obviously taken a team to the finals last season. What do you think is the Lakers' ceiling?
Yeah, obviously. That's got to be our only goal, and that's our only goal. I think we have the team to do it. When everybody's locked in, we're a hard team to beat, so that's our goal.
Luca, you've obviously been playing with LeBron for the past couple of months, but this is going to be your first time together in the playoffs, and you've played with great players before, but he's arguably the greatest. How do you envision you two just fitting together in the playoffs, and just like what that could be like?
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be hard to stop us, but it's not just me and LeBron. We have a great team around us. Everybody helps us in so many ways, so if we want to win the championship, it's going to take all of us.
Luca, felicidades. Aseguran el tercer puesto en el oeste. ¿Cómo se siente el equipo en este momento y sobre todo para ti personalmente? ¿Qué es lo que has podido aprender de ti desde que llegaste?
Creo que ha sido muy importante acabar así, sobre todo para tener cancha en casa en los primeros playoffs. No he aprendido nada nuevo cuando juego a mi manera, o sea, cuando juego agresivo ayuda mucho al equipo y eso tengo que hacer.
Luca, también en español, me gustaría preguntarte, ¿qué piensas o qué sientes cuando la gente corea tu nombre, te gritan MVP? Los playoffs están enfrente y esta afición obviamente siempre está esperando un campeonato para los Lakers.
Sí, es algo increíble, es algo que todo el mundo que juega al baloncesto quiere, que todo el pabellón grite tu nombre. Y es algo increíble, así que espero que no sea la última vez.
Luca, you've been on quite an emotional roller coaster over the last few months. How have you navigated that, and with this upcoming week off, like what kind of reflection do you intend to have before the playoffs start, and to keep kind of a balanced mindset going into the playoffs?
Oh yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but my emotions I deal with by playing basketball. It's the thing I love, and going to the playoffs, trying to win every game. That's it.
Thanks, Luca.
Thank you.